Today promises to be a very exciting day, not because I'm here, but because I have an exceptional talent in studio, and her name is Angela Duncan.
Elevate your business with 10x Branding and Marketing LLC. Our expert team specializes in enhancing your brand's visibility and connecting you with your ideal clients. We employ strategies that increase reach, leaving a lasting impact and driving client conversion. Trust and credibility are vital in businesses and excel in building them even with a limited budget. Our cost-effective approaches ensure you get the best results without overspending. Ready to boost your business cash flow? Contact us at 332-235-T99 and let 10x Branding and Marketing LLC guide you to success. Our focus is on elevating your visibility, which directly translates to growth. Experience the power of effective branding and marketing with us and witness your business thrive.
In the event that you're wondering who is Angela Duncan, well, she's a person that you need to know. Why? Because she is young but very innovative. Today, she has allocated over $2 billion in real estate support to persons that wants to own their home. She has been in business for over 25 years. She also holds a bachelor's degree in finance, and she is really committed to really helping people to understand financial intelligence, so they can leverage this to increase their wealth. So today we're going to be talking with Miss Duncan, and I want to assure you, be prepared for a lot of gems to be dropped today. So do join me in welcoming Angela Duncan on stage. Angela, how are you?
I'm doing amazing, Gary. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's my pleasure, tremendous pleasure. I want to, there's so much to talk to you about. I'm really impressed with how much you have been able to achieve at, your young age. But I really want to talk today about your pathway to success, and get some of those gems. I want to begin by looking at, you have a bachelor's degree in finance. And what inspired you to take up studies along this path?
Yeah, so I am a survivor of childhood poverty. So here in the US, what that means is my mom was single mom and she utilizes government assistance to pay for housing and to help pay for everyday needs. And so when I grew up as a child without money, I always thought that perhaps if we had money, that my life would be very different. So I was very curious about studying money, and that's why I decided to pursue a college education with money. And it did take me 5 years while I worked multiple jobs. So, it was not easy for me to get that degree, but I knew if I had more knowledge about money, that perhaps I could have a different lifestyle, but then I could teach other people about money as well.
Well, I really love that. I think in today's world that there's so much need to enable and empower people to understand money and how money works, to understand financial intelligence. Would you care to share with us, after you decided to pursue study, you went into finance, what is it that you learned that you believe is not common knowledge? What are some of the things that you learned that is not common knowledge?
Right. So even though I had a degree in finance, I really wasn't able to use that and apply it to real life. So I needed to go out and get real life education. My first career path, I wanted to learn about the stock market and learn about how to use the stock market to create, wealth, to create income, to help people with their financial goals. And a big misperception I think I had is if I went out and got the knowledge, that I would be able to immediately apply it, right, to help other people. And sometimes that's what we think, is if we go get the knowledge, then we're going to be successful. But that wasn't the case for me. I didn't know how to help other people with the knowledge that I had. So it was important for me to figure out, how do I help clients with this information? And what I learned is building relationships, making sure that I got to know my clients, getting to know what the clients' needs are, what are their goals, and then figuring out the knowledge that I have, how we can work together to help them accomplish those goals. But without first having that relationship, then they weren't willing to listen to me. Even though I was knowledgeable, they wanted to know that I cared about. And so I really had to build that relationship with the client first before I was able to help them.
I love that. Relationship capital is vital to move any process forward. What I've also noted from what you said is that while you were academically solid in terms of money and how money works, you were solid in terms of the theory, but then you recognize that the theory was not enough. You now have to learn the practical, the applications, and how you get the job done. What I love about you is that you went out and you get the knowledge and you allow nothing to stop you. And today you have helped so many persons, which we're going to talk about in doing what you're doing. What I've recognized, Angela, is that you studied money management and you also studied real estate investment. But just before we get into the real estate investment, can we talk a little bit as you went out to the field to learn the practical? You talk about the stock market. I guess you're now referring to things like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and hedge funds, how it works, ETFs and REITs. Because in the financial space, there is so much of information to be had. And having this body of knowledge is important. But can you tell us, what was your experience like getting out there and getting your feet wet with the practical tools and application on that wealth building process?
Yeah, so you kind of touched on it. There's so much information, Gary, out there that it can be overwhelming. And I think when you feel like there's too much information, you don't want to take any action because you're scared, you're nervous, you don't want to lose your hard-earned money. And that's what I heard a lot from clients is that they just didn't know where to start. And getting information is great, but you can get so much information and it can be different information that you're just confused and you don't know which direction to go. Where do I start? Do I pay off debt first? Do I do retirement planning, college planning? There's so many different avenues for you to think about. And then once you pick an avenue, there's so many investments for you to think about. And it's so overwhelming. So we really want to take the time to break it down, to make it more simple and understandable for you. It doesn't matter that you may not have had any financial education or a finance degree. There's mentors and coaches like myself that are out there that will make it simple. Figure out what it is that's important for you, and then we're going to break it down into small steps so that we can start there before you start investing in any avenue.
I love that. Listening to you remind me of a phrase I would always say. When it comes to capital and capital leverage, you never want to make an emotional decision, all right? Because what you find, I think, I don't know if this is your experience, very often you find people want to build wealth. They have a desire to build wealth. In some cases, you may have information about a portfolio, but then you might have never used that information. The other thing, you might hear persons that are saying that, hey, I invest in this, stock or this bond, and you hear the hype. I invest in this Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And because you hear people are making money, sometimes what you do, you make an emotional decision and invest. And I would say that in investment, if you're making an emotional decision, perhaps you're making a gamble, because what goes into investing is what I call the back-end analytics. From the back-end analytics, you understand the portfolio, you understand the players behind the portfolio, you're looking at historical data of that portfolio, so as to ensure that you are in a position to minimize risk associated with investment. Any of that makes sense and applies to some of what you do to help your clients?
Yeah, you look at and that's the thing when it comes to the stock market investing, is that you're looking at past experience to figure out what the future might be. And that was a big reason for me to transition from the stock market to real estate investing, because we have no control over what the stock market does, right? And it can go up and down for no reason or silly reasons. One piece of bad information can drop a stock substantially. And I was uncomfortable with helping clients invest money in the stock market because of those reasons, right? Because there's no control. I mean, you can have a company that has zero assets, meaning they have actual only data, and it can be worth millions of dollars, which wasn't making sense to me. But when we look at real estate, it's a much different investment. And I needed to transition to something that I could feel more comfortable helping clients with, that we had more control over. A house is not going away, right? And so getting out of the stock market and realizing that Wall Street was kind of telling us some lies, and I was sharing those lies, and I no longer felt comfortable in the stock market. So I needed to get away from that and no longer helping clients invest in the stock market, but moving towards real estate, which today I feel is 100% better investment.
Wow, I thought I was alone. I have been such a skeptic in terms of, investing in stocks because I see it as being volatile. And to me, they don't have any clear, predictable factors. There are a lot of ebb and flow that could undermine what you think is predictability. And I have made a decision to do exactly what you do also. That is to find tangible investment portfolio in the form of real estate. But this is not about me. This is about you. So talk to us about real estate investment, because I do see that real estate investment is perhaps one of the smartest, fastest ways in which you can actually build wealth. But investing in real estate in of itself has risk. But before we look at the risk, tell me what your experience has been like in terms of getting into real estate and doing your thing in real estate. Talk to us a little bit about that. What triggers you to get into real estate? How many years? What was your experience like?
Yeah. So for me personally, I started with single family homes. And I think a lot of people, when they start investing in real estate, take the same route. It's something that we can look at the numbers. You have one house, you know what your expenses are going to be, taxes, insurance, repairs, you know what the rent is going to be today. And it's easier for us to predict what that's going to future is going to look like, because over time, real estate has gone up. So real estate investing on a single family home might be a first route for you. And that's okay. But when we look at, there's so many options in the real estate world. Again, you want to pick one lane. Learn and educate yourself on that one lane first so that you can become comfortable in real estate investing. So that's where I started. But as I continued on my journey, I knew there was bigger returns than any stock market investment in real estate, and I needed to learn more about that. So everything from apartment complexes, investing in that, tax liens, investing in that. We do a lot of different options at Drive Planning that gives you some bigger returns, but find a mentor, find a coach, and understand that it's okay that you're going to make some mistakes, but real estate is not going away. People need housing. There's no extra land being built. And so it's something that's more tangible, it's safer, and it's more predictable than any stock market investment. And I think people need to understand that real estate can be a big part of your investing, and knowing that we're not going to get rid of this housing, right? We're always going to need housing. There's always building going on. And that's really important for you to understand. It's a much safer investment, in my opinion, than any stock market investing you could do.
Well, I can come alongside you and say I support everything that you said, not 101%, but 120%. And let me share with you what I love about real estate. Investing in real estate, several things happen. One, you position yourself to get daily, weekly, monthly cash flow from that real estate, depending on how you set up the portfolio. But then this is not only true way to cash flow, you also get asset appreciation over a period of time, because in most cases the asset appreciates. So, and along with that, you also get an opportunity to take out the equity. And because you're not able to take out the equity, you are now able to leverage that equity to accumulate your wealth building journey even faster. So I really love that about it. But let's talk a little bit about how do you prepare yourself or someone to embark on real estate investment? You spoke about the PITI, principal and interest tax and insurance, but are there other risk factors that one should consider? I have heard stories where persons make real estate investment, but they didn't do the market analysis. And several things happened. You had what you call physical obsolescence and you had economic obsolescence. And the physical obsolescence is in the case where you purchase a building, but then there were certain invisible features of the building that is you cannot actually repair. But now you settle with that, and it's going to cost you a large amount of money to actually fix that. The worst case scenario is when we look at what we call economic obsolescence. You buy a piece of property on a piece of land, but then you didn't recognize recognize that that piece of land is inhabitable, is not conducive for building. Are some of these things important things to look at as you decide to look at, investment portfolios?
Yeah,
How?
absolutely. I that one of the things I recommend is to start investing where you live. So some of those things, driving by a building, driving by a house, you can kind of determine whether or not some of those instances might happen because I
Mm,
think when you find people who invest out of their area, they don't have that same opportunity. So always step one is to figure out one, how much money can you use to buy your first investment and making sure that you have a safety fund for repairs or anything that might go wrong. Two is if you're deciding you're going to invest, say, in a residential property and you want to turn it into a rental, you should be driving your neighborhoods, looking at the house before you make the offer, making sure you understand what the neighborhood demographics are, what kind of income that neighborhood might produce for a property, and really looking at the function of the house as well. And when you're making your investment decision, you're going to look at the numbers today. We have no idea what the market's going to do in the future. Whether interest rates go up and down should not be part of your analysis. Figure out what does that property generate today and how can you maintain that return or that cash that's going to be flowing to you from that rental property. But I think a lot of those instances can be eliminated when you do your proper due diligence, when you're looking at the property and actually physically seeing it and understanding the neighborhood before you even start making that investment decision.
I really love that. I want us to talk a little bit about your business. You have registered a business titled Empower Her Money. But just before we get to entitle Her Money, you have said something that I so much agree with. And it's a lot of moving parts to start thinking about investing in real estate. And I believe that this is a responsibility that someone like yourself should take on. I don't think someone who is new and inexperienced should even go about looking at investing in a home because there's a whole lot can go wrong. In my field, I find that persons, they may have the equity, so they make the equity deposit, 10 or 20%, but then they didn't think about attorney fee, they didn't think about appraisal fees, they didn't think about all of these other moving parts that is so important to actually close off on the project or to make a decision to buy in the first place. So I love all that you would have said. In your experience, do you find this happening a lot? Where first-time home buyers who may try to do it on their own, they end up going into making a lot of mistakes?
Yeah, absolutely. They're not prepared up front for the actual other costs that are going to be associated with buying a property. And it's so important for them to get that education again before they start down that path. And there are a lot of great first home buyer programs, as I
Yeah.
know you're fully aware of, Gary, but making sure that you can go and get that education, right? So not only are there costs involved in purchasing the home, but there's going to be costs after you buy the home. And know that you might get a call on Thanksgiving to fix a toilet. So making sure you have a great list of contractors, plumber, electrician, people that you can call right away if your tenant needs their house to be serviced, having those already lined up and ready to go when you put that tenant in your property is very important as well. And understanding that it's going to take time away from your life to manage that property if you're going to do it yourself, or if you hire a manager, do your research and make sure that that manager is a great manager for your tenant. Otherwise, you're going to end up managing it as well. So there are so many things that you still have to think about before making that first investment.
Okay, great. Now, thanks for sharing, Angela. I want us to talk now about the business. Help us to understand Empower Her Money. What triggered that name? And what I've recognized is that you're a known newcomer to business. You have been in business for 25 years, and there you are looking to me as though you're just 25.
Thank you. I appreciate that. For people who may not know the camera, you can edit and do filters too. So I'm very grateful for today's technology.
Okay, Angela. Whatever you do it, keep doing it because it's certainly agree with you. So talk to us about Empower Her Money.
Yeah, so I kept getting a lot of questions about money. And instead of giving the same advice to 5 different people, I wanted to create a company and a platform where we can talk about money, we can talk about business and teach on a platform like yours, podcasting, YouTube, where it's free for you to get the information that you're looking for. So whether you want to invest in property or you're running a business, Empower Her Money is a platform where I get to teach women and entrepreneurs about money and business, and I absolutely love it. I find that this is my God-given talent, and I've been studying money, and it makes sense to me, and it's my purpose. I need to be able to give back to everyone around me because I don't want people who feel they're stuck, right? They don't feel like they have financial education. They don't know how to invest or buy real estate. Let me teach you how, because I was there once and I understand, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. I want to help you get to your financial goals quicker with real estate and investing in real estate so that you can break that poverty cycle or break that financial miseducation cycle, and really for me to get away from Wall Street, because that's the big bad wolf is the Wall Street, because they're teaching you that 8 or 10% returns is the most you can get, which is not true. Real estate can give you such better returns and can really set you up for financial freedom, but you need to first start with you and get that right education so that you can make that change.
I must say I love what you're doing. I have so much appreciation for what you're doing, and I want to give you all the encouragement to keep doing what you're doing. I can share some of my experience with you, and I would love you to talk to that experience in the context of the project activity of your company. What I've seen happen very often, you might have an ambitious parent or someone that wants to purchase and the home. But what we see happen in America today is that the average person don't have the startup capital to move that process forward. What I see is that they stay in this state for many, many years, not knowing how to accumulate the kind of capital to go invest in real estate. And I'm wondering how your financial education program speak to these issues. Some of the things that we would talk about is that if you can't do it alone, it makes sense to identify a partner or two, and you can share ownership. You can, based on your negotiation skills, and there's a lot that can happen, but the last thing that you want to be is to be stuck with the belief that it's impossible for me to achieve it. Talk to us a little bit about your financial education program, because I know that you are very deep into financial intelligence. You have a bachelor's degree in finance. So I know that you understand this subject in theory and in practice. And I know beyond all of this, you have a burning desire to really help people to build passive income stream. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Right. So first step is to understand what is your income and your expenses. And in today's technology, there's lots of free apps that can help you track that. So once we know where your money's coming in and your money's going out, then we can determine if we can cut back on any of those expenses, or perhaps you want to get a side job. There's so many ways for us to create additional income. And when I sit and talk with you, we can go over like, what are your passions? What are your, some hobbies that you have, and how can we create more income for you so that we can start you on this journey? Then we start thinking about like, what money can you set aside so that you can start on this journey? And if it's going to be your first rental property, if that's where you want to start, if you have the time to manage it, then we start working on those goals and setting money aside. But it also comes back to your mindset. And what I ask a lot of questions about is, what were you taught as a child? What information did your parents give to you about money? And what are you still holding on to today about that education that you need to release, that is no longer your truth, that is no longer relevant for you today? Because I can give you the plan, we can sit down and make these goals, but if your mindset believes that you are not worthy, that you do not deserve financial independence, that you do not deserve abundance, you're never going to meet those goals. So it's so important for you to understand what is happening in your mind while we're creating those goals, and then visually see yourself accomplishing those goals in the future. Those three things are key for you to make that big change so that you can create that financial freedom for yourself through real estate investing.
Angela, I can sit here and I can listen to you all the time because you are making some very powerful statements. I've always said this, that process to wealth creation is not necessarily what the eyes can see, because this is what there's the myth. Seeing is believing, but I believe the real place to start seeing from is your mind. You may see a very luxurious looking building, but the process to recreate that, to re-engineer that, because you're only seeing with your eyesight, you just don't know. But when you see from the mindset, which is what you're talking about, you understand that step-by-step approach to recreate wealth. I really love the work that you're doing. And again, I want to say I can listen to you because I know that you know what you're talking about. Angela, I have seen that over the 25 years that you have been in business, you have done a lot of great job, a lot of great work. You have sold over $2 billion in real estate. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that experience was like for you and what was that process like?
Yeah, so I used to be a co-owner of a top Remax real estate brokerage in the country, and I was in business for about 10 years. But what I love about helping people not only buy a home that they're going to live in, but buy a home that they're going to invest in is you really give them hope. You give them hope that one, they feel secure that they have a house for themselves, perhaps for their family, and it's something that they own. And two, as an investor, you're giving them hope that they're creating cash flow, that they have an asset that's going to appreciate, that they're utilizing tax code. I mean, the US IRS tax code is really incentivizing us to buy real estate. That's why they create these codes for us to use, because they want to see you succeed financially, and they give you specific codes in real estate that help you with depreciation and write-offs that you don't see in the stock market. There's not a depreciation code in the IRS that says you can depreciate your stock. No, it's around real estate because we understand that that's how you build true wealth. And for me, I wrote a book last year, best-selling book, and I give it away to people for free. So Gary, if it's okay, if anybody listening to this podcast wants to message me invest on Instagram, I will give you my book for free. I have a quiz that I can give to you with several other financial tools that will help you really get started on your financial journey. So just message me on Instagram, invest, and I will give you those tools for free, because it's not about me, it's about you. And it's about giving you the most information so that you can really get started on your financial journey, and you can know that financial independence and success is possible, but you have to take those first actions. And I want to give you the tools and resources to start on your journey.
So tell us a little bit about your book and what inspired you to write the book, and what is it that you hope to accomplish with that?
Yes. So my book is called Empower Your Money. So it's a little play on my brand, but it's not about me, it's about you. And what inspired me to write this book is I thought about my mom as a single mom and trying to raise two kids, not having enough money, and the way that I felt as a child growing up in that environment. It's something that we can fix. And I want to help people fix that. I want to help people break that cycle. And I think that there's so much information out there. My book was created for you. It's 101 simple tips. It's not complicated. They're ideas and information that you can implement today. I don't want to make it something that you can maybe work on 5 years from now, but how can I help you today? How can I make financial education super simple for you to understand today? I don't want you to feel complicated or overwhelmed with all of the information out there. It's a book that's easy for you to implement today because I truly want to help you. And the way that I can do that is to give you the information and the education, but to break it down into simple tips that are not overwhelming so that you're not scared or have fear on this journey. So let's give it away for free, but it really still falls back on you. You need to make sure that you're taking the action with the information and putting it to practical use.
I love that, and I love the last statement. It tells me that you're very observant. What I see happen a lot, and Angela, is that I find people have information. It might even be that they have information overload. Information is a good thing, but I do believe that information becomes even more useful when you apply that body of knowledge to achieve a desired end result. In your experience, are you seeing persons struggling to apply financial intelligence data? Have you seen that?
I do. And sometimes it's a fear from their childhood. Sometimes it's a fear of an investment they've already lost money on. So they don't want to be public about losing again. And we have that fear, and fear is the strongest emotion that's holding you back. But I want you to know that we can change that fear into hope. And the way that we do that is to give you very practical advice and steps that are easy for you to implement right away in your life. And that's where the transition happens from fear into hope, is when you're putting that practical information to use, and you start to see little baby steps of things that are changing in your life that you're able to accomplish with just a couple of key steps to get started. You don't have to do big steps. We we can start with just some small steps forward. And that's what I want you to understand, is that it is possible, but you have to put in the work and you have to be willing to move forward and stop being stuck in your own situation. And let's make some changes to your mindset and to your daily habits so that you can move forward on this journey.
Elevate your business with 10X Branding and Marketing LLC. Our expert team specializes in enhancing your brand's visibility and connecting you with your ideal clients. We employ strategies that increase reach, leaving a lasting impact and driving client conversion. Trust and credibility are vital in businesses, and excel in building them even with a limited budget. Our cost-effective approaches ensure you get the best results without overspending. Ready to boost your business cash flow? Contact us at 332-235-T99 and let 10X Branding and Marketing LLC guide you to success. Our focus is on elevating your visibility, which directly translates to growth. Experience the power of effective branding and marketing with us and witness your business thrive.
Interesting. I must say, I like your fluency, your elegance, and the level of confidence in how you speak. And I was admiring you as you deliver yourself. And then I recognized that you're also a top podcast host. So that should come as no surprise. Tell us a little bit about your experience as a podcast host.
Yeah, so I have a great story and I share my story, but not everyone's going to understand what I've been through. Not everyone relates to my story. And when we don't tie an emotion to the financial goals, then it's hard for us to move forward. So I've been through what I have been through and I can teach you from my lessons, but every one of us has a lesson. Every one of us has something that they've learned in business or in money that they can share. And what I think about and what I tell my guests when they come on my podcast is think about yourself 5 years ago. What have you learned on this journey that you wish you would have known before? Take that piece of information and teach it to somebody else. Help them with their journey. Contribute to other people in teaching them about business and money so that perhaps they don't make that same mistake and they can reach their financial goals quicker because they avoided that mistake. And I believe that when we each story tell, we get that emotional attachment to what that person has been through and you can relate to them, then you will listen. Then you will hear their story and then you will action and take implementation on what they're teaching you. So why not use a platform and teach stories from other people so that we can continue to give back and to contribute to society and create a massive success when it comes to finances? Because like I said before, this is a problem we can fix. But we have to get together, we have to share stories, and we have to be passionate about helping each other so that we can make changes in other people's lives too.
Okay, great. Angela, I see that you want to work with your clients, you want to work with your community to help them to understand what is finance, what is passive income streams. But I recognize that you're not just settling to just help them to understand money and how money works. You're not just settling to help them to understand what is passive income streams. I see that you've set yourself a target to work with your client for them to at least attain $1 million in passive income. Can you share your story behind that, your vision behind that?
Right. Gary, as you probably have, I believe in always having a coach or a mentor. I have a coach for my podcasting and I have a coach for my business. And that's important for me. And so many times coaches will ask you, well, what is your income goal? And I've been fortunate enough to done well in life through my real estate investing that it's not about me. I want to make a true impact. I want to set a goal that helps other people. So yes, for this year, 2024, my goal is to help my clients create $1 million for this year in passive income. And I know it's a huge goal, but I'm fortunate enough to work with a company and we provide opportunities for our clients and helping them create some massive passive income. And what I mean by passive income is we set it up in the beginning and then you don't have to worry about it. It's kind of like you set it and forget it and your income is going to keep generating because I know you're busy. I know you have businesses. I know you have jobs and you don't have the time to go out and find properties and do all of the work that's necessary that we've talked about. I want to take that off your plate and in exchange, we pay you an interest rate that we're going to tell you about upfront. Really high interest rates right now because it's about you. It's about creating wealth for you. It's about taking that confusion and turning it into action. And this big goal for myself is what I'm dedicated to doing this year. And I know I'm going to accomplish it, but it's just about getting on platforms like yours to spread the message, to let people know there's other strategies and we want to teach you about them. And that's the way that we help you create massive changes, is by taking these strategies that you may not know about with real estate and making it that you understand it, making it passive, and making it so that you don't have to put a lot of work into it, because I know that you're busy. But that's the key, is understanding that you have partners like us to teach you and to help you on your financial journey. And that's why the goal has been set.
I love that. Tell us a little bit more about this investment portfolio. Is it open to anyone?
Yes, it is a debt fund. And without going into too far what that means, because I don't want to confuse the audience, especially for someone who hasn't been down this journey yet, my clients become a lender. And what we do with that money is we are building, properties, communities. We're partnering with developers, but I want to just keep it super simple. So if a client comes to me, they don't have to be an accredited investor. They don't have to have a certain net worth. In fact, they don't even need to be a U.S. citizen. But our minimum investment is $20,000. And when you come to us, we're going to tell you exactly the term, which is 90 days, and we're going to pay you 10% for that 90 days. And what we do with the money is we're going to go and work in the real estate residential field, and we're going to obviously make more money than what we're paying you, but at least you have certainty. You know what you're going to make up front, and you know it's backed by real estate, which we've already talked about is the best opportunity here in the US. And we want to make this available to most people. So that's why we don't have the criteria that some of the other real estate investments have, because it allows for more people to participate and help them generate passive income and meet their own financial goals.
Wow, this sounds pretty interesting. So minimum investment is 20,000. You get 10% return on 90 days. So that means that in 1 year you're getting four payout. That's
Correct.
about 40% return on your investment per year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Wow.
people ask us, how can you do that? We watch TV shows about flipping houses and how people double their money. So when you watch it on TV, you believe it to be true. And then when I'm offering it to you, sometimes you might be a little skeptical. Well, I was a client first, because I'm not going to advise anyone on something I have not tried myself. So I was a client first, and now I want to bring the opportunity to more people, but it becomes education first. So we hop on a call, we make sure that we fully explain what we do, that you don't have questions, and that this is a right fit for you and for us. But yes, that's the returns that we're giving, and the fund's been around for quite some time. So I'm confident in, helping clients with this opportunity, because I am a client myself.
I love it. I love it. But talk to me very briefly about, are there any risks associated with the portfolios, and perhaps how you plan to mitigate it? For example, or you go right ahead.
I was going to say, well, one, we're paying you interest. So understand there's no tax benefits like some of the other real estate investing. You're getting paid interest, which is tax just like your income would. So you've got to prepare for that. You're going to be taxed on this income. So setting aside some money to pay taxes in the following year is important. Two, our portfolio is over several states. So if we had some crazy catastrophic event that wiped out half the US, then I think we'd all be in trouble, not just our fund. But that's a risk associated it, because we are in real estate, and we don't necessarily need to worry about the interest rate environment, because we're going to pay you what we're going to pay you, and that exterior environment isn't something necessarily that's going to affect what we're paying you. But the biggest risk is, the real estate market itself. We've seen some downturn in real estate this past year and a half, but we're very cautious in what we're doing so that we can continue to pay our clients what we have promised to pay.
I love what I'm hearing. I'm definitely going to be talking with you some more about those portfolios. And so perhaps I can get in on some of the wealth building experience. Real talk. Angela, I want us to talk a little bit now about habits. What habits is necessary to influence success? I mean, today you have so much of, success behind your name. You have your bachelor's degree in finance. You have over 25 years in the real estate investment market. You have started your company, which is Empower Her Money. You have allocated over $2 billion US dollars to, to investment portfolios. You're a successful podcast host, and there's so much more. I've seen that you also want to travel the world. We'll talk about that before the end of the program. But what habits do you think is necessary to influence one's success?
Great question, Gary, because money habits are so, so important. And mine have changed over the years. So I'll give you my top three. One is the start and end of my day. I'm very much in control of how I start my day and how I end my day, because I feel like if you start your day in positivity, no matter what happens during the day, you're better equipped to deal with the ups and downs of the day. So me personally, I start my day with journaling. I'm writing down what my thoughts are, maybe what I want to accomplish today, some roadblocks that maybe I'm having, and just talking through that with myself. I also start my day in prayer. I am a Christian and I am a servant to God and helping his people in our community. So I start my day on a positive note. I also end my day on a positive note. I mean, what's the point of living life if we can't have a little bit of fun, especially when it comes to money? It can be a very heavy topic. So I end my day watching funny videos. I know it probably sounds silly, but anything from dogs and cats to people falling down, I want to end my day on positivity because it just helps my mind rest so that I can be refreshed for the next day. So that's number one. Number two is making sure that I have the right people around me. I don't want negativity. And while I do occasionally pop in and watch the news, it's not something that I consume most of my day. A lot of it I cannot control. I sympathize and empathize with the world and what's going on around us, but I have my purpose. My purpose is to teach money, and that is something that I can help control, right? So that's two, is making sure my exterior environment I control as much as possible. That's important to me. Three, mentors. I'm always going to have a mentor and coach, because the more that I can learn, the more that I can grow, bigger the impact I can make on this world. And if I'm not educating myself, then how am I going to tell you to educate yourself? I would be contradicting what I teach if I'm not also a student. And so it's important for me to have coaches and mentors to help me keep that habit, that money mindset, that positivity that I can share with other people. So those would be my three tips around your habits and your daily life. Yeah, that's a very personal question. I think for anybody, their own definition of success is going to be different. So mine first is that I have a feeling of gratitude. And that is something, again, we can go back and control. But success to me is having gratitude of just basic stuff and
Yeah, yeah.
basic needs in life. I live in Miami. I have a roof over my head. I can turn on the faucet and I have water. So success for me is gratitude, being grateful for everything that I have in life. Anything above and beyond that is just, icing on the cake for me, to just be in gratitude every day and to be able to have my basic needs met. Anything on top of that is not necessary, and I'm grateful for it. But yeah, that would be my definition of success.
To attain the level of success that you have attained, I do believe that you must have a blueprint for success. Can you talk to us a little bit about what is your blueprint?
Yeah,
The
my
hard
blueprint.
work, ensure that you have all the information. But talk to us about your blueprint for success.
And that's something else that is constantly changing. So, your blueprint is going to be based on where you're at in life. Early on in my 20s, my blueprint was, finishing my college degree, working and saving enough money to be able to pay for school. And that was success at that moment. My next step was, how do I find success in what was my blueprint for real estate investing? And that was finding mentors, getting education, and implementing and taking action on what was necessary at that point in my life. Today, what I do for my blueprint is I'm up every day. I can, like we talked about, I control how I start my day. I am in the mindset today and right now of, how can I help more people? Is it more events that I need to go to? And when I go to events, I'm intentional. I talk to people and I ask them, what is your biggest struggle right now? Or what are you most excited about? and really get in a conversation with someone so that I can have multiple connections, multiple impacts on being able to connect people together. It changes, right? It's constantly changing. So my blueprint today is not a solid, it's more fluid, right? Because we're moving through this thing we call life and figuring out what is it that my goals are today and being very intentional on what I do with my time every single moment of every day and making sure that it's allocated to the goals that I have set in front of me.
Like I share. Angela, the average person looking at you, they're going to say, the red carpet was rolled out to you, and you have all of this success. To may say, you have that gold spoon. But very often, I think people, when they look at successful people, they have a misinterpretation. And you said it at the beginning. Sometimes you see the success, but you don't see the pathway that one had to journey to be as successful as they are today. What challenges you had to overcome? Can you talk to us a little bit about that to help the audience to, understand that there's a pathway? What challenges you had to overcome to be the success that you are today? You're a best-selling author. You have all of these things going on for you, but tell us about some of those challenges.
Right. So early on was my childhood. Growing up in poverty is a huge challenge. You're not taught about money. You're not taught about becoming an entrepreneur. You're not taught about real estate investing. None of that was given to me as a child. I had to go out and seek that information. And even when I was 18 and I decided to do my first investment, which was in a mutual fund, I lost money. I lost 20% of that first investment, and it was very hard on myself. And I almost quit. I didn't want to do investing anymore because I was ashamed and I thought I was, doing things wrong, or I was not intelligent enough to invest, or maybe I didn't deserve more money, but I had to change my mindset. And so I got through that first investment, and I have lost money on several investments over this past 25 years. But it was the lessons that I learned from that I continue to move forward and not let that mistake stop me. But that's true in life itself, right? So if you make a mistake, if you have some obstacles, go through it and then take the time to reflect on it. What could you have done differently? Who needed, what information did you need? And then apply that in the next part of your life. That's the biggest part about making mistakes, is that we're going to all go through it and we're all going to have that. And I don't think that I'm never going to make a mistake again in the future, but giving myself grace that it's okay that I made that mistake and gone through that obstacle. I also went through a divorce, and that was a huge roadblock for me because I was married for a long time and I was used to having a partner in business and a partner in life. And now I had to become a single person again, rebuild my mindset, rebuild my habits, rebuild my network, rebuild a business, but I had to start over. And that's how I've gotten to where I'm at today, is by not letting those roadblocks or those obstacles define who I am, but knowing that that happened to me for a reason, learning from it, teaching other people what I learned, and then just keep moving forward. Don't let it stop you. Don't quit. That's the only time you're going to really truly fail, is if you quit. So don't quit, learn from it, move forward, and just give yourself grace that it's okay that you make mistakes in life.
I love that. Learn from all your experiences and use them as a stepping stone or a springboard to come into your greatness. Angela, as you look at your life right now and you look back at some of your experiences in life, do you have regret that is holding you back, or are they pushing you forward?
No, they're definitely not holding me back. I mean, there's some things that I could have done differently, sure, but it goes back to my belief in God. God put me on this path, and each time something happens is a life lesson for me. So what did he want me to learn in this part of my life, and how do I help somebody else if they're going through this hardship, if they're going through this roadblock or this unsuccessful decision that they have made? So no, I don't have regrets in life, because we just keep moving forward and we learn from what happens to us. And when you have that gratitude and that positivity, then you understand that regretting life makes you look in the rear view mirror. I don't want to look backwards. I want to keep moving forward. And I guess, I don't know, that was my answer for that one.
No, I love it, and I love that you mentioned gratitude. I do believe in having a mind of gratitude. It's so powerful. What I would say, sometimes people spend all of their life in a state of, I wish I had, or I wanted this, not taken into consideration that you may have so much of success in your life that you want to be grateful for. And let me say this, I believe that the main fact that you have waked up to breathe another breath is enough to show gratitude for, because you have life, you have hope, there is possibilities. And I love the point that you made, gratitude. I think it's very important. What inspire you? I mean, I know you talk about the fact that your mom, grew up, you guys grew up poor, and you made a decision that poverty is going to end, it's going to be at probably the first strata of your step and no way further, because you have broken that cycle. And I know that you said that those are some of the reasons why you went on to study finance. But you're more than just an expert in finance. You are an influencer. You are setting out to touch millions of lives across the world, because this is not just for America. You want to touch and impact people across the world. What inspired you to become an influencer in your industry?
That's a great question too. Now that I'm a mom, I realize that I always have a set of eyes on me. Whatever I do in this life, she's watching. If I can just teach her the best way possible so that she can take that information and use what applies for her in her life, then, maybe someday she's a mom and she influences her daughter, or maybe there's some kids around her that are watching her that don't have that same upbringing, that she can inspire them too. So really it comes down to changing just one life. If I can do that and have that kind of impact on one person, imagine the ripple effect that happens. If that person changes another life and another life, and, think about it, we have 8 billion people on this planet. And if each person impacted just one person, everybody on this planet is impacted. So that's where my inspiration comes from, knowing that we have that kind of influence on other people, that we can change their lives. It just takes one person.
How do you want to be remembered, and what impact do you want to make on your community?
This is a very interesting question. It has changed for me recently, because I was watching a video of this woman who said, I don't care how I'm remembered, because that shouldn't affect what I'm doing every day, is what other people think. What affects me every day is knowing that I have a purpose and that I can make a difference in someone's life. And if no one remembers me 200 years from now, that's okay, because I know on this life and on this journey, I've impacted one person, and that's my purpose. So I don't really think about what other people think anymore, because that shouldn't affect how I make my decisions today. My decision today is based on the impact that I can make on somebody else, knowing that I am being my best version, that I'm educating myself, and I'm giving back as a servant to my community.
Empower her money. What are your future plans? What are the big future plans that you have? We're about to wrap up, so I can't end unless I can focus on your big future plans.
Well, we talked about creating an impact. So $1 million in passive income for my clients. I will hit that goal this year. I hope to surpass it, but that's at least the minimum goal this year. And for the future, I want to grow the podcast. I want to interview and share more stories to help other people in their business and in finances all across the world. So right now I'm a top 5% podcast. Would love to get to top 1%, because that means the audience is vast. That means the people we are impacting is vast. To be able to share stories and help other people get past their money mindset, their money blocks, and help them invest, especially in real estate, and changing their lives for the better and for generations in front of them, that would be absolutely fabulous to be able to do that.
What platform are you traditionally running your podcast?
Yeah, on most platforms. So Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeart, YouTube, and also we are on Your Podcast TV, which is on Amazon Fire. So we're going to reach as many people as possible and grow so that we can change the lives of other people.
Love that. I'll talk with you some more about some of what you're doing, but I love it. I've listened to your story and I'm so impressed. And I'm inspired at the same time. What I'm aware of, sometimes to make big dreams become real, there's always that need for capital. How important is access to capital to you moving your vision forward, or possibly your clientele base achieving their goals?
Right. So it depends on the business. If you do need capital, it is available out there. For women entrepreneurs, only about 2% of capital or venture capital is allocated to us. So when you're thinking about going down this route, the biggest thing you need to do is be good on paper, which means to have your books in order. When you're looking for money from a bank or from a private lender, they want to see what your information is, and it's got to be super clear. So having a great business plan put together on how you're going to utilize that capital, but making sure that your books are accurate, that they're up to date, and they're very easy to understand. So if you're starting on your entrepreneur journey and you want to start a business, that's the first thing you need to make sure you do is have your book in order so that you can go out and raise funds. And see, maybe you just need a partner that might have some capital, and they could be a silent partner, or maybe they're knowledgeable in your business. But there's so many creative ways for you to create income or create capital for your business. Make sure that you're exploring all of those options, because it can be a very costly mistake if you don't go about it the right way. So do your research, just like anything else we're investing in. If you're looking for capital to grow your business, there are multiple avenues for you. So find a coach or a mentor, and make sure, like I said, the most important thing I always say is that your books need to be correct no matter what you're doing in business.
Great. I will talk with you some more outside of this podcast. We are in contact with many financial players, and something I will talk to you about is possibly helping your team to access what we call capital at 0% APR. That can 0% APR can run for like 12 to 24 months. And I guess that will go far in helping you also to achieve your objective of really helping them to get to that $1 million passive income cash flow. So we'll talk about that. The last question I want to ask today is, what are essential money habits to have?
What are money habits to have? The most essential?
Essential money habits to have.
Yeah. For me at this point in my life is I have a solid budget. Budget is not a fun thing for most people. I love doing budgets because I want to know where my money is going. I used to teach a Dave Ramsey course, and he would say, if you don't tell your money where to go, it will leave you. And a lot of people think about that, right? They look at their bank statement at the end of the month and they're like, where did my money go? It's because you didn't tell it where to go. You didn't give it a purpose. So an essential money habit is to track your income and expenses and tell your money where to go by creating a budget and adjusting it, looking at your numbers. For me, that's essential. You've got to have a budget in mind.
Did I hear you say that you work with Dave Ramsey on his podcast?
I used to teach his course. It's called Financial Peace University, and it's a great starting point for many people getting started on their financial journey, especially if you're in debt. I love a lot what he teaches, but I don't agree with everything. So I no longer teach his program, but I do keep some of the basic concepts that he teaches so that I can help other people with some of those basic money concepts.
I really love that you're rubbing shoulder with some giants in the financial space. And just like you, I think his approach is stay away from debt. And I think his advice is right and wrong at the same time. I think if you don't know capital, you don't know financial instruments, stay away from debt. Stay far, far, far away from that. But I think for people like yourself and myself who understand how to leverage debt into positive income producing assets is a different language altogether. All right. But man, you have accomplished so much. I want to say today it has been such an experience talking to you. And as I'm talking with you, I'm still seeing that, there's so much more that you have to share. I know this may be our first interview, but certainly not the last, because I know that you have so much more to share. But just before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to say that I might not have asked you? I want to give you an opportunity to say it now.
Yeah, no, just a reminder about the free financial tools. If you're listening to the podcast and you don't know where to start and you want to get out of debt or just want to learn more about opportunities that are available, then message me, Invest, on Instagram, Empower Her Money, and let me give you the free tools to get you started.
Awesome. Well, there you had it, audience. Today we talked with Angela Duncan, and she's definitely a powerhouse in the financial intelligent financial education space. Do ensure that you are reaching out to her, and you can benefit from what she's doing. I love the portfolio that she spoke about early on, because in every 90 days you can get 10% return on your investment portfolio, and that's almost unheard of. Because of real estate portfolio, it's one of the safest investment portfolio and smart investment portfolio. We'll definitely be bringing in more information. Angela, again, thank you so much for being with us today, and definitely looking forward to being with you.
Elevate your business with 10X Branding and Marketing LLC. Our expert team specializes in enhancing your brand's visibility and connecting you with your ideal clients. We employ strategies that increase reach, leaving a lasting impact and driving client conversion. Trust and credibility are vital in businesses, and excel in building them even with a limited budget. Our cost-effective approaches ensure you get the best results without overspending. Ready to boost your business cash flow? Contact us at 332-235-T99 and let 10X Branding and Marketing LLC guide you to success. Our focus is on elevating your visibility, which directly translates to growth. Experience the power of effective branding and marketing with us and witness your business thrive.
Again, to learn more about what you're doing.
Pitch Deck 101 LLC out of New York. Do more than just support our clients to pitch their businesses to investors access working capital at 0% APR. We also support our clients to grow and scale their businesses faster and cash flow optimize. Pitch Deck 101 LLC recent partnership with 10X Branding Marketing LLC and Global Capital Inc. out of the USA has enabled us to form unique partnership with multiple financial institutions, which means we can do even more to accelerate the success of our clients. Let Pitch Deck 101 LLC give you the support you need to pitch to investors, access capital, access new markets, and grow and scale your business. Contact us now on 332-235-1099 for a free consultation.